was in the news last week that there was a drop in the unemployment rate, which only means that there is a boost in employment. A lot of companies are hiring, a lot of jobs are being created. But are you feeling it? How do you stay relevant and competitive in this market? Marami rin po ang naghahanap ng mga trabaho. So how do you edge your competition? And that's why here on Kababayan LA, we try to help you by talking about job trends. Ano po ba ang nangyayari ngayon sa hiring market? And what can you do to improve your chances at being hired?
Tracy, first of all, thank you so much. I know you're very busy managing a director for Apollo Research, but you know, this is something that we can talk about, and a lot of people will benefit, I guess, talking about business and what your predictions are for trends when it comes to employment.
Yes, and thank you for having me.
Yes, welcome to Kababayan LA. Very interesting. You have 5 tips on tomorrow's evolving workplace predictions for business and careers this year, and first of which is continuous employment, multiple jobs, and employees. What do you mean by that?
Yes, I think people have to realize that the lifelong job that maybe your parents had, one job for life with a gold watch, is over. And that more typically people will experience 5 or 10 jobs, or literally 5 careers in their lifetime.
Right. Now, armed with this knowledge, what can we do now? Do you suggest that, you know, 5 or 3 skills maybe tailor fit your resume according to those skills and then look for different positions?
Well, number one, I always advocate education. And with the Filipino population, they're highly educated. They understand this because it keeps you employable for a lot longer than if you were not educated. And the more degrees you have, the more viable you are for more occupations.
Yes, but what about also trend number 2 is you're saying tiny but mighty, small businesses and self-employment. Do you advocate people getting into starting their own thing?
Well, small businesses has always driven the U.S. economy. And so more and more people today are looking to see what kind of expertise and skills they have, and can they actually either start a business or take over a business or even home base or freelance as their own business.
So in your research, tell me, if one is thinking about starting a small business, what kind of industry? Are there so-called hot industries that we can get into right now?
Well, the 3 hot industries is healthcare, IT, and business services.
Okay, healthcare, a lot of Filipinos there, that's covered.
In fact, they're one of the largest and fastest growing in small healthcare and home-based businesses around the healthcare community.
Right. And is that better? They say, you know, especially when you're starting a business, income is not very stable. Would you suggest, would you advise them to take a risk? And when you do that, do you give yourself a limit? Like, I'm going to be starting on this and working on this for maybe 2 years. If nothing happens, then I'm out.
Well, we're doing a study right now on leadership, and here's the advice that people give when starting a business. Do it on the side, do it on weekends, as long as it isn't conflicting with your day job. Test it out. Make sure that this is what you want to do, because for the first 3 to 5 years, you may not be turning the profits that you hope. Once you establish, then you can break off and really grow your business.
Right, and I'm hearing that you need deep pockets for that.
Not necessarily. A lot of the people that we've interviewed are funding themselves, but they're being very careful about how they spend their money, and they're learning a lot of skills. So, for example, how to do their own P&L, how to do social networking, how to develop a website, or tap into friends who can help them in the legal areas, in business areas, and in accounting.
Right. Let's talk about that. You know, social marketing, IT, you mentioned a hot industry. When it comes to IT, is there a specific skill, or is it just, you know, developing applications perhaps? And what kind of skill is needed?
So in IT, there's a lot of categories. So just basically, you always have the back end. Since I worked at Cisco Systems, that's the networking. Key certifications are very valuable there, either to start your own business or to work in a company. Microsoft also has certifications. That's what we call the front end. That's desktop. Imagine if you had a Cisco and a Microsoft, both certifications, you'd be very strong.
And these certifications you get online, you apply for it?
Some of it is face-to-face and some of it is online, and many times it's integrated into degree programs. You can actually integrate certifications and associates and bachelor degrees.
And there goes education again. Dr. Tracy advocates that. Education. There's a quote that people are always attribute to you, that is education to prepare for the future, or something like that?
I think education pays off, and we do a lot of research on that area, because a lot of people at midlife say, I only have a associate's degree or only have a certification or a high school degree. Why bother? Well, we did research on that and found that actually the ROI can be higher for you as a mid-career adult in IT and healthcare and in many of these areas because you have experience. And experience in education nets you higher opportunities and jobs.
And that's what we advocate also here on the show. We suggest to them that especially now some of the companies may not be hiring. So use this time to really improve and develop those skills and get into programs that can help you, correct?
Exactly.
Is there a correlation between education and women excelling? Have you made a study on like more women are getting into education or more open into learning new things than men?
Actually, there are more women in colleges today. Most colleges say about 65% of the enrollment are women, and they stay on. So more women have advanced degrees than men.
And that is why, yeah, my next question is, how will they impact the marketplace or the workplace?
Tremendously. As you can see, just this year, IBM, HP have women CEOs. For the first time in the U.S., we have women running for president. I know in the Philippines you have a history of women presidents, but here we don't. And so you see women moving. They're starting more of their own businesses. And our research is showing it's because they have a pipeline of education. Because they're educated and skilled, they're emerging and blossoming into so many areas.
And I see that you cannot overemphasize the fact that education is key, you mentioned. But when it comes to education, there are different degrees. And I know you touched on this earlier. Do we need a degree? Do we need, a vocational course? Do we need a certificate? Does it matter which kind of education you get?
It does. And, let me focus on one area, which is nursing, because I think that a lot of people in your show could probably relate to that. 1 in 10 jobs in the U.S., by the way, is in healthcare, and that's expected to grow. So nursing is a flexible degree. You can start off with an associate's degree, an RN, and you can get a job. And then you can continue on and get a BSN, which is a bachelor's of nursing, and then you get more opportunities. If you move to the master's level, management jobs open up. And in nursing, you can become a chief nursing officer. So you can become the big chief.
Yeah, that makes sense. So education, education, education. But this is something that also caught my eye. When you listed the trends that you have based on your studies and research for business and careers in 2012, FaceTime. FaceTime will become a precious commodity. What does that mean?
Well, I live in Silicon Valley, and so a lot of the firms have already just pushed out of the office and have people teleworking, virtually organized. So we actually don't have to go into an office anymore. Not all offices are like that, but many industries have moved online because technology is everywhere. So meeting someone face to face, it's very precious. You and I can correspond, we can talk on the phone, but this time here is very valuable because it's your time and we're using it wisely. But after that, we can continue our dialogue in email and virtually with using a number of technologies.
Would you say, though, that Skyping perhaps can take the place of FaceTime, or even FaceTime? FaceTiming can take the place of personal interaction, one-on-one interaction with people.
Skype, the WebEx, collaboration, video conferencing, telepresence, all of these technologies, people are realizing they're still face-to-face. I may not be able to exactly touch your hand, but you're with me and we're in real time.
And that's good enough.
It's very good.
And that is why, we thank you. I know you're very busy, but once again, I thank you for coming here to explain these to us, and I hope that we can have you back next time, talk about more things, more results from your research and findings from your research studies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and more power to you.